Thank you. And those of you watching, this is the Salem City Council meeting for Monday, May 12th, 2014. We have a change in our agenda this evening, and our first item is actually going to be to administer the oath of office, and that's to returning counselor Bruce Rogers, and I believe our city attorney is going to administer the oath. And welcome.
I, Bruce Rogers, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and of the state of Oregon and the city charter and ordinances of the city of Salem, and that I will, to the best of my ability, faithfully and lawfully perform the duties of city councilor for Salem during my continuance therein. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And for those of you who may not know the history in this situation, Councillor Rogers was a very active and important part of the Salem City Council for a number of years. Can you tell me how many years? 8 years. And Councillor Cheryl Thomas, you may remember, recently resigned and has moved to Atlanta to be with family there. And so we were able to entertain applications, and Bruce Rogers was among the applicants, and we're so pleased and really honored that you have returned to our council. You will fill a very important role for us as we move forward. We have several months of very important work to do, and having a counselor with your experience and your dedication in the past is a tremendous importance and comfort to all of us, and we sincerely appreciate the time that you're taking and the time from your family to come back onto the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It'd be my pleasure. I hope stay positive. But I do have to admit the last 3 years has been pretty nice not being here every Monday.
We will give you that. We understand. Thank you. All right. I would like to entertain a motion. I believe that Councillor Clausen has a motion.
I do. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd move that Council approve resolution number 2014-33, appointing City Councilor Bruce Rogers to the Board of Commissioners of the Salem Housing Authority for the City of Salem.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Clausen and seconded by Councillor Tessler to adopt resolution 2014-33, appointing City Councilor Bruce Rogers to the Board of Commissioners for the Housing Authority. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. At this point, we will adjourn the City Council meeting so that we may call to order the Housing Authority, and I believe that Councillor Brad Nanke is going to chair.
Depends. He has to
All
start
right.
the meeting,
Yes.
and we'll
All right.
figure it out.
Okay. Our city attorney is going to do that. Thank you.
I call the meeting of the Salem Housing Authority to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Tessler.
Present.
Commissioner Nanke.
Here.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Commissioner Dickey.
Here.
Commissioner Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Benars.
Here.
Commissioner Clem is absent. Sitting in for him tonight is guest Commissioner Brian Werner. And Commissioner Hine is absent. And Chair Bennett is absent. And sitting in for him tonight is guest Commissioner Terry Moore.
Good evening. The reason that I gavelled in the meeting is that our commission chair is absent tonight, and you need to elect a temporary chair. And with that, I'd ask for a motion.
Yes, I'd move that we elect Commissioner Nanke as Chair Pro Tem for this evening.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Commissioner Tessler. Any discussion?
I have no discussion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Commissioner Nanke.
we've already been gavelled in and roll call. So with that, do we have any public comments? Seeing none, and it's not listed here, I would entertain a motion for additions, deletions, and revisions to the agenda.
Second.
We had a yellow sheet at our stations today to add a resolution onto the agenda as well. So with that, do I have a motion for the consent calendar?
Do we need to vote on the additions,
Oh,
deletions?
sorry, yes, we do. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Any nays? Motion carries unanimously. And that moves us into the consent calendar. And since that motion previously was not in order, we'll again entertain a motion for the consent calendar.
I would second. I'd like to have some discussion though, if possible.
Sure. And at this point, we typically would ask if there's any comments, and then go to the director as well. So, Commissioner Clausen.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one quick question for staff. I guess it would be for Mr. Welch. On this, I had a brief chance to read through, as it was an addition. I didn't get a chance to give you a call to ask my questions, so sorry for the on-the-fly questions. Sure. But on the changes for the dollar amounts, they were relatively minor. I'm assuming that was just kind of as things finalized and clarified, it was just dotting the Ts, dotting the Is, crossing the Ts to make sure everything worked out exactly right?
That's correct. Reconciling all these moving pieces to put them into play, yes.
Okay. So this pair of resolutions just helps us to clean that up and make sure we're all...
We followed the fundamental basis of the resolutions that you saw on the 28th of April with some slight modification for cleaning up the dollars and making it work.
Okay, good. So there was no substantive changes to any of the agreements or anything along those lines?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Dickey.
Thanks. I had a question about the information item that's under the consent calendar. Is that right?
Correct.
6.4. Okay, great. So thank you for including this in the management report, the community-wide, the gap analysis for your clients, because I think it was really interesting, really helpful to just kind of see where people are and what some of the barriers are for them, and what are some of the possible solutions for that. And the one that really jumped out to me is the lack of affordable transportation, because it kind of permeates all these others. I mean, it talks about, well, send somebody to WorkSource. Well, if they can't get a ride, if they have no transportation, they can't getting to their medical care, getting to their mental health services, getting to any of these other things as well. And I know transportation is a huge barrier for a lot of people in our community. So I was just curious if you could just speak a little bit to I guess the scope of the issue of the transportation being a barrier, and if there's anything you wanted to highlight about the discussion that went on about that.
I'd be happy to. Thank you. I think, as the commission knows, the average income for our households that we serve, the almost 3,500 households, is about $15,000 a year, right? So there's not a lot of discretionary income, and those are families working multiple jobs, and so their ability to be successful really is, I guess, based on their ability to get where they need to get, whether it be education, jobs, medical issues, right? And so we run into that quite a bit, where when we ask our family self-sufficiency clients what their primary need is, it's really transportation. There is certainly other pieces. I don't want to say that that's by and far the only issue, for sure, but transportation is a huge issue. And we noted in this gap analysis the traditional public sector kind of providers for transportation, but we also know that there's a whole range of alternatives for our clients. And so that was a big discussion in this as well, which is how can we think a little bit bigger than just going back to the traditional kinds of solutions, perhaps. And so it's great for us to get together with the Emergency Housing Network. It's almost 100 plus or minus social service agencies, housing agencies that all come together on a monthly basis and really discuss how can we do better for our clients. And so that's really what this gap analysis is about, and it's kind of a roadmap, but at a macro level.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I just wanted to kind of underscore then the need for not just transportation, but that really is one of the biggest issues, as
True.
you had said. And if we are able to remove that barrier for people, that not only benefits the people that are able then to access their jobs and their resources, but that benefits the entire community. So I think taking a community-wide approach using the housing network, which is a lot of community partners, it's not putting it all on the shoulders of the city or the transit district or some district. I think coming together to discuss that, I think that's really a great thing that you guys are doing.
Great. Thank you.
Any other comments? Any other items you wish to address, Mr. Welch, on?
Just really briefly, Pro Temp Chair, I
Thank you.
wanted to give you an update after the April 28th meeting. We've made substantial progress in a short period of time. HUD has approved the overall structure for their participation. Our partners, both the equity investor and our lenders, all of our investors collectively have finalized their participation, so they're ready to go. HUD is prepared to fund this activity on Wednesday, and we're prepared to begin to close and begin construction shortly thereafter. So really want to thank you all as a commission for sticking with this for such a long process. These things aren't easy, but it's certainly going to be better in the long run for our properties and most importantly our clients.
Excellent. Still supposed to be nice Thursday and Friday, rain on the weekend. Any other discussion on the consent calendar? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. No special orders of business, unfinished business, new business. So with that, I will adjourn this meeting of the Housing Authority.
All right, I will now call to reorder the meeting of the Salem City Council for Monday, May 12th, 2014. And do we need another roll call or not?
You're actually gaveling in the Urban Renewal Agency, so yes.
Oh, yes, thank you. This is the Urban Renewal Agency meeting. And yes, would the recorder please call the roll?
Board Member Bennett is absent, and his place tonight is Guest Board Member Terry Moore. Board Member Tessler? Present. Board Member Nanke?
Here.
Board Member Clausen? Here. Board Member Dickey? Here. Board Member Rogers? Here. Board Member Benars?
Here.
Board Member Clem is absent, and sitting in for him tonight is Guest Board Member Brian Werner and Chair Peterson.
Here, thank you. I see that we have no reports from boards, commissions, or committees. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment? No, all right, thank you. We'll move to the consent calendar. And Member Nanke, I would entertain a motion regarding the consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would move the consent calendar with the following poll, 4.3A by Mayor Peterson.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Member Nanke and seconded by Member Member Benars, sorry, to move the consent calendar. Is there discussion? Yes. Member Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm trying to be retrained, but I have a question when it comes to 5B. Is that going to be out loud prior to the consent calendar being voted on?
It's separate, and then I will ask if there are questions about it.
Okay, then I'll
Right.
have a question then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, the question on the floor regarding the consent calendar. All those in favor of the adoption of the consent calendar with the poll of item 4.3A signify by saying yes. Yes, aye. All those in favor say aye. All those, I will say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, and then moving to the information reports. There are 2 items in your binders for the information reports. Are there any questions regarding those? Member Rogers, did you have a question about one of the information reports?
I do.
Okay.
I just have to figure out where it's at. My question's on the Northgate urban renewal area in your comments. When I read the comments, I would think that the NGRAB committee was in favor of reallocating the funds. And I don't know that that's true. And I just want to get staff's perspective. And then the timeline, I know you're doing a study, what the timeline is for coming back to the NGRAB or coming back to the council, so we have some input on how we spend those dollars.
John Wales, Urban Development Director. This has been a conversation for those that may not have been following it for the past several months. The Urban Renewal Agency board has been meeting to look at all of the URAs, and one of them was North Gateway. And back in February, or actually back in December, the agency board gave us instructions to go meet with the advisory board in North Gateway to look at other options besides just the construction of Portland Road for the funding that was remaining in the Urban Renewal Agency. So we met with them for 3 times, and their recommendation was, in fact, to defer going forward with the construction of Portland Road. That was the last project you may remember that had been on the plan, but to set that aside and to explore other opportunities of investment that could occur in the area as well. And I think it was in February, that recommendation was brought back to the agency board, and the agency board said, yes, please pursue a strategic plan, an economic opportunities analysis strategy. We've done one of these in excuse me, in downtown Riverfront URA and one in West Salem. And really it's a comprehensive plan of what are the opportunities, what's the return on investment, what would be the benefit, what would be the challenges in doing various other types of projects. Some of them may be acquisition of property, some of them may be a grant and loan program, some of it may be actually purchasing buildings as well. And so we are developing a strategy or an action plan to do that. We're going to be sharing it in June with the advisory board and getting input from them, and then be bringing it back to this agency board for approval to proceed with. And if you adopt it, or the agency board adopts it, then we will be this summer, next fall, be doing that analysis and bringing that back with a list of investment opportunities that can be included in the budget year for next year.
And Mr. Wells, so it doesn't, the Portland Road, the north part of Portland Road may end up being scaled back. It doesn't mean there would be no construction on Portland
That's
Road.
good. That's a
Yeah.
very good point, yes. The Portland Road's not out of the, it may just be a different project than what was initially envisioned. Does that?
Yes, I think that helps, that the street improvement is not out of the picture. That's still in the ballgame.
Right, but it probably won't be a $22 million investment. It would be something scaled back.
For instance, overhead power lines would stay, you wouldn't underground that kind of an idea.
That may be one option.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to special orders of business, having pulled the item 4.3A, I am going to make a motion for the purpose of being able to have discussion, but I move the recommended action, which is replace existing riverfront downtown building rehabilitation and restoration interior and exterior grant programs with the Riverfront Downtown Urban Renewal Area Capital Improvement Grant Program, and authorize the Urban Development Director to administer the program.
Second.
It's been moved by me and seconded by Councilor Nanke. Is there discussion? I have a question that I thought maybe perhaps our Urban Development Director, John Wales, might be able to actually explain the difference between these two and how the new program will work.
I'd be happy to. I think as most people know, there is an existing toolbox program already in place. It has been in place for many years. It comes with for an applicant, an interior grant of up to $50,000 and an exterior grant up to $50,000 per building. And it's been very effective for many years. But I'd say for the past almost 2 years, the Downtown Advisory Board and staff, and I know the agency board at your direction too, have asked for ways to, is there a better way to leverage? And the way the toolbox program's currently written or administered is that if you have a $100,000 project, you can get the same amount of grant as if you have a $1 million project. And is there a way that we could incent more investment if we were able to put more money in? And so there has been a lot of conversation, talking to property owners, talking to realtors, talking to investors as to how could we scale this to get a better return. And that's what you have see in this report tonight is a new program that would do just that. So that the concept is that if a larger project comes in, it has an opportunity to apply for and receive more money in order to get a higher level of investment in the URA. So rather than focusing just on an awning, for example, we can actually do a full rehab inside an interior space. And it's that kind of getting a better return, getting more investment, and with the intent of increasing the tax base in the downtown.
Mr. Wells, could you explain that these aren't first dollar grants, that we need to ensure that the project is completed?
Certainly. On page 4, when it talks about, of the staff report, it talks about the large project grant funding requirements. There's a concern as if we go to offer more money to a grant, and when we get over $100,000, we want to make very sure that projects are completed, and that where in the past for smaller grants, we would issue the grant money at the time the project starts. We're putting some requirements in this program that put some restrictions on it, that we want to ensure that the project is completed, and there are 2 ways that the grant will be issued. One is that the money will be issued after the project's completed, at time of occupancy or when it when actually the work is done, or if they would like the money up front, we would require a project bond to assure that the city and the investment is protected. So it's those 2 protocols. Those are 2 things that are different in this program, and it really is the reason for that is because we're putting more money, public money out there, and we want to make sure that things actually get completed.
All right, thank you very much. Does anyone else have questions about that item? All right, then the motion on the floor is to approve the recommendation for the changes to the Riverfront Downtown Urban Renewal Area Grant Programs. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, we have no further unfinished business, and we have no public hearing scheduled this evening and no new business, and I will adjourn the Urban Renewal Agency meeting. All right, I will now call to order this evening's meeting of the Salem City Council for Monday, May 12th, 2014. And we do not need a further roll call. I'm going to ask for approval of additions and deletions to the agenda. Councilor Nanke?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would move additions, deletions, and revisions to the agenda as indicated on the yellow sheet deposited on our desks prior to the meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilor Nanke and seconded by Councilor Benars to adopt the agenda, the additions, deletions, and revisions to the agenda. Is there any discussion or any questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We now have time for council and city manager comments. Did any of our councilors have comments this evening? I will start by noting that on Saturday, over 3,000 children from schools across Mid-Willamette Valley competed and enjoyed a day of races and relays with the Country Kids Country Financial Relays held at Bush Park. And I must say a real strong thank you to Country Financial for their strong support of this ongoing relay. This was the 40th annual relay. And when I was there, I asked parents in the stand, the people in the stands, adults, how many had actually participated in the relays when they were children. And I was so pleased by a significant number of hands up. And so we know now it's really part of our sort of our heritage and the life of our community. So I wanted to say a special thank you to Country Financial and also to all of the teams that came, the parents, the coaches, the teachers and principals that were there. It really was a tremendous support for all of the children, and a good time was had by all, and I'm looking forward to next year. Other counselor comments? Other experiences you've just recently enjoyed out in the community? Counselor Nanke.
I had one, but I can't for the life of me remember what it is, and I think that's the problem when you have meetings like every night of the week. It was like, I gotta remember it. It's like,
You may think of it later.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I'll
Does our city
catch you at the end of the meeting.
Okay. Oh, yes. Does our city manager have a comment?
Yes, I wanted to comment also about the relays and how well attended they were and what a great time all the children had. But another important aspect was this was our second year of a partnership between the community development department staff and the public works recreation staff on doing the shoe drive called 1,000 Souls. And many of the children from low-income families in this community, we noticed a couple of years ago, could not participate in the relays because they did not have shoes that they could run in. So we have the shoe drive now, our second annual one, and all of these children who needed shoes were outfitted with shoes last week. So they came to the field with bright, multicolored running shoes that I think they were really proud of, and I think people in the community are so happy to help in that way to make sure that these children have shoes that they can run and play and exercise in.
Great. Thank you. All right. Thank you for comments. We'll move on now to a proclamation, and I have guests here this evening to help with this proclamation. If you'd like to come down.
And there's soles on those.
And they have soles on their feet. They're going to talk about filling the boot. Welcome. I appreciate you being here this evening. Would you like to introduce yourselves, and then I'm going to read the proclamation.
My name's Ian Fitzgerald. I'm with the Salem Fire Department.
My name is Kyle Ellerby, and I'm with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
I'm Matt Brozovich, and I'm also with the Salem Fire Department.
There go our guys right now.
Thank you, and there they go. Right on cue? Was that a cue? All right. Well, you never know when that's going to happen. All right, so here's the proclamation. I'm so happy again to be able to do this. Whereas muscular dystrophy refers to a group of more than 40 neuromuscular diseases, and whereas the Muscular Dystrophy Association is a voluntary health agency that was created in 1950 by a driven group of parents whose children suffered from a form of muscular dystrophy, and whereas 75% of every dollar raised by the MDA goes directly to research, health care, and education. Local 314 firefighters have held Fill the Boot Days annually in Salem, raising thousands of dollars to benefit children with neuromuscular diseases. And whereas, on behalf of all the people of Salem, I offer our best wishes to the people who are living with neuromuscular diseases in Salem. And now, therefore, I, Anna M. Peterson, Mayor of the City of Salem, do hereby proclaim May 21, 22, and 23 of 2014 to be Fill the Boot Days in Salem, and I encourage citizens to participate by dropping money in the boot at one of these two intersections. One is at Market Street Northeast at Lancaster Drive Northeast, or Liberty Street Northeast at Trade Street, which is convenient for most of us, right outside our door here. So this is a proclamation dated this 12th day of May, 2014. It's my honor to present this proclamation to you and to, again, thank you for the efforts that our firefighters go to, and I know that's on your own time, and you're out there in the street dodging the traffic. I want you to be safe out there. And again, to Muscular Dystrophy Association, we so appreciate the work that you're doing in our community to educate us about the needs and the support that you provide for families and children with muscular dystrophy. Thank you so much. And I think maybe you're going to bring a boot around this council chambers. You do have that out tonight. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your efforts. Thank you. All right, wait a moment. We're not done yet. They do have a few words. They're usually so silent. Here we are. I'm glad you're here. No, this is fine. Okay.
Am I on here?
Let me make sure. Okay. Yes, you're on.
All right. So, first of all, thank you, Madam Mayor, for the time, and thank you guys for giving just a couple minutes of your time to this. This is one of those events that we get out in the community and just absolutely have a blast interacting with the public. We do this on our own time, and it's one of those things that, you know, we have a lot of members in our community, and in fact, over 20 families that this goes to benefit. So, I don't know if you guys were all here last year, you probably remember Connor Gage. He was the kid who got up, or didn't get up. He sat in front of us and spoke about what the money raised through the MDA Fill the Boot event goes to help him and his family go to the camp, you know, provide medical equipment that he is unable to pay for. It's extremely expensive. The average wheelchair is over $30,000, and that's without bells and whistles. Unfortunately, Connor lost his life this last February from complications due to his disease. So this is kind of, I mean, he was our guy. He was the kid that was out there every Fill the Boot with us, you know, came to all the city council meetings when we read the proclamation. And so we kind of feel like we lost one of our family members. So this year, we're hitting it pretty hard. We have a big goal. We're trying to raise $60,000 in honor of the 60th anniversary of the partnership with the IAFF and the MDA. To date, the IAFF has raised over $275 million to go into the MDA and the programs that the MDA supports. So once again, I just want to say thank you for helping us do this. We couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you very much, and I'm going to pass this off to Kyle.
Just to touch on one extra thing that Ian may not realize, but we focus at the MDA on two things, help and hope. We provide one side of that, the help. We provide stipends to families for their wheelchair repairs, sending kids to summer camp, other things like that, other services, research as well. The hope, though, really comes from groups like the firefighters and communities like yourselves. The partnership between the two. You guys provide the hope, the funding for the help that we can provide. So thank you very much for all this.
Well, you're entirely welcome, and again, we thank you for your efforts, and we're pleased that you're here tonight and that you're going to be out on those 3 days. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you. Here comes the boot.
Here comes the
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
There we go.
Please hold. Gave it
All right, don't forget down here.
Thank you.
All right, our next order of business has to be to do with the Planning Commission appointment, and I would ask for a motion from Councilor Nanke regarding this action.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would move that City Council appoint Brian McKinley to fill a vacant position on the Planning Commission with a 4-year term expiring December 31st, 2017, and continue receiving applications to increase the pool of eligible candidates for the remaining position on the commission.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Counselor Nanke and seconded by Counselor Bednarz to appoint Brian McKinley to fill a vacancy on the Planning Commission. Is there discussion? Counselor Dickey.
Yeah, thanks. Just a quick question. The remaining position that's on the commission, is there any special criteria that a requirement that someone would have to fill that position?
I'm going to ask our Deputy City Manager to respond. He works very closely with our boards and commissions and all of the requirements.
There's not a specific requirement, but there are some potential disqualifications if a candidate would hold a position of a professional position that someone on the commission currently has, then they would not be eligible. And if they are involved principally with the development and selling of commercial or real property, then they would also not be eligible because only one person can, by Salem Revised Code Chapter 6, maintain that position. It's currently filled on the commission.
Thank you very much. Was there another question or comment? No? All right. The motion on the floor is to appoint Brian McKinley to the Planning Commission. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. It's time for public comment. Do we have anyone signed up? Oh, all right. That's fine. Okay, no one for public comment this evening. All right. We'll move to the consent calendar. Counselor Nanke, do you have a motion?
I do. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would move the consent calendar with the following poll, 3.2A by Mayor Peterson.
Second.
It's been moved by Counselor Nanke and seconded by Counselor Bednarz to move the consent calendar with the exception of the pull of the item 3.2A. Is there discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you. It's now time for public hearings. And the first item is item A. It's order number 2014-03CU. And we will have no announcement by the city recorder, but I would entertain a motion for this item. Counselor Nanke.
Or would Counselor Dickey, since it's in her ward?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Counselor Dickey, this is your ward.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. I move that the City Council adopt order number 2014-03-CU in the matter of denial of the decision of the hearings officer for property located at 4675 Portland Road Northeast.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Counselor Dickey and seconded by Counselor Nanke to move for the recommended action, which is the denial of the decision of the hearings officer for the property located at 4675 Portland Road Northeast. Is there discussion? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Special orders of business now will include the item that I asked be pulled from the list of resolutions, 3.2A. And I would like to let's see. Just excuse me a moment. Okay, I'm going to open this by offering a motion to get back to where I need to be, to support the proposal of Resolution 2014-27, approving a Marion County petition for the formation of a Marion County Extension and 4-H Service District. Okay.
Second.
All right. It's been moved by myself, Mayor Peterson, and seconded by Councilor Tessler. And is there discussion? I would like to offer discussion in support of the resolution, in support of the very active and necessary work of the Marion County Extension Service and the work that would be able to be performed when this special assessment passes. I feel very strongly that we need to support this action because, as we all know, the economic development engine in Marion County and part of Polk County, and certainly for the city of Salem, is agriculture. And everything that we can do that supports agriculture, even agriculture that occurs outside our city limits, certainly does enhance the economic development within our city. We have many food processing firms, we have many craft brewers here in Salem, and also some wineries and other beverage and fermented products that are actually made and processed and packaged and sold from within our city limits. We also have a large variety of professional services that thrive because they are able to provide services to the agricultural community that surrounds our city. Certainly the accounting firms, the real estate firms, the property appraisers, the law firms, and many of the other businesses that provide professional services to families and businesses related to agriculture is an important part of our economy. And so for those reasons, I do support this resolution, and I certainly hope that others on the council will join me in supporting this resolution. Councillor Benars.
I will be supporting this measure, or this motion. However, I wanted to speak a little bit to the 5 cents per thousand that will be assessed for this particular program. I've had some people come to me and say, we're raising your taxes again, and I want to assure people that we are not raising taxes. What we are limited by law to $10 per thousand, and we're taking a fraction of that money to put towards this, the extension agency for the Marion County. Marion County with may be outside, the agriculture may be outside, but those functioning facilities are many times within the city limits. Mm-hmm. And therefore, one of the concerns that I've had along the way, and we've been assured that it will be helping, they will be helping us, is to make sure some of that money comes back and helps the people in our community that work and produce products out of those, out of the agriculture of this county. So this money isn't just going outside of the city of Salem; it's actually staying. Some of it will be staying within it. Anyway, main thing I wanted to point out is that we are not raising taxes. We can't, but it does mean that we're taking 5 cents away from some of the other things that we have on many things on our list to do.
Thank you, Councillor Benars, for that clarification. I appreciate that. Is there further discussion? Yes, Councillor Rogers.
Where do they get their money today?
Well, their money today,
Where has the money
do we
come
have
from in the past?
some
I believe it
testimony
comes
on that?
from Marion County, but Mr. Lacey or Ms. Montoya, do you want to respond to that?
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Sandra Montoya, Assistant Finance Director. The money currently comes from federal and state programs along with Marion County. So if this goes forward, or I should say, in the report, what OSU has told us, or Marion County has told us, is that they've lost approximately 25% of their funding sources over the last couple of years. So this is their attempt to continue the program going at full force.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Councillor Rogers? Mm-hmm.
May I ask her a question?
Yes, certainly.
So will this be the 100% of their funding in the future? Or will they still have support from the state and county?
So I'm going to bring up Derek Godwin. He's with the program, and he can answer program-specific questions probably much better than I can.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Derek Godwin with OSU Extension Service, current regional administrator for the Mid-Valley region, which includes Marion County. I'm also forcing John Burt to come up here as well. So in answer to your question, so the federal and state funds would continue. So this would be If the full 5 cents was levied, then this would be a slight increase from county funds, as well as continuing to leverage the state and federal funds, as well as the volunteer work and other grants and other sources there. So it's not a replacement of any other funds.
Yes, Councilor
So
Rogers.
Will Marion County be contributing out of their budget to the extension program in the future? That's my question.
So the commissioners, so I'll give you a little bit longer of an answer. The commissioners are the board of this district, or they would become the board of this district. And they have told us that they plan on continuing to provide funds at the same amount that they are providing now. But at the same time, they have directed us to put in to establish a service district based on what we need. So it would be a year-to-year decision for them, but they've told us that they plan to continue at the same amount.
Thank you.
Are there further questions? Yes, Councilor Tessler.
So, thank you. This is why I'm going to support this resolution, is because I had a long conversation with my good friend Derek Godwin, who I should disclose I've known almost 20 years. So, anyway, some of my concerns were just that traditionally when we think about 4-H, we think about kids that have a horse or a cow or a pig, or, you know, and they take it to the county fair and they live in the country and those types of things. And so I was wondering how this could be applicable within the city. And, you know, there's a lot of 4-H things in the city, and I never really thought about how this could be applied within the city. You know, you can have chickens in the city now. So now the kids can exhibit chickens, for one thing. There's also a lot of other things that 4-H does for after-school programs, which I really didn't know that much about until I talked to Derek. And I thought that was really good that they would boost their involvement with after-school programs, because, as you know, most of them have been cut. The other thing that I really like about this program is that it supports the master gardeners, the master composters, all of the people when you have a problem with the rows and you call the number and they answer and they talk to you. But most importantly, these people also work with people who set up the food share gardens within the city. And I think this would enable them to do more of that work, setting up gardens, community gardens throughout the city, and working with people and getting them going and starting them and those types of things. And so that's basically the reasons why I'm going to support this resolution, because I feel that this would help us fill in a gap with our youth in the community that we really need. So I just didn't want people to think that, have that kind of conception. It's easy to have that conception about 4-H not being a city thing, you know, and not involving youth inside the city. And I think that this is going to be a good thing for that. So.
Thank you very much. Councilor Clausen, and then Councilor Bednarz, and then Councilor Rogers.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would echo Councilor Tessler's comments. I was concerned about this as well, thinking about it, just money that's going to the county for the most part. And while that's a good thing in terms of agriculture being our #1 industry in Salem, it definitely concerned me with giving up this direct budget for the city of Salem for that. And there's a lot of programs that 4-H can do that can be done in Salem, and I'm going to support this with the full expectation that we're going to receive some of those benefits of that system that is a national size program, that they've got resources that can be devoted to this. And you know, it's going to be my expectation. You know, I plan on watching it a little bit and making sure it happens. And I hope that staff can help with watching that too. And it sounds like there's going to be some collaboration between staff and 4-H in the future if this goes forward. So, you know, from the big picture perspective, great, because it helps us with our #1 industry in our region. From the micro perspective of Salem, the selfish perspective, great, because we're getting some programs inside of Salem with the dollars too. So I think it's probably a net benefit for all.
Thank you. And Councilor Bednarz.
So I have two things I want to say. First off is, no matter what we do tonight, this sets it on the road, but we are not actually instilling this into law. All we're doing is saying that we're putting together an initiative that would, or approve of an initiative that would go before the voters. So the fight really was still in front of those that will benefit from it. They're going to have to educate the community about the benefits of this amount of money that's going to be going to them. Second question I had was more specific. are you going to be taking up to 5 cents per thousand at the start, or are you going to be taking something less than that with a maximum of 5 cents per thousand? So if you're still getting money from the feds, you have this thing to go, you have this new source of income for the extension agencies, will you start at 5 cents or something else?
So that's a question yet to be determined. So as the commissioners would be the board of the governing district, it would be up to them to decide how much is levied. And so basically, if the commissioners decided to continue their general funds, then they could levy a less amount than what's in here. In order to put the district proposal forward, you have to justify if the levy was, if the amount was fully levied. So 5 cents is the maximum, and so everything in the budget proposal and priorities is all based on that amount and based on the commissioners not including any funds. So you can see in there that there's plenty of options for them to choose from. But I just can't speak for them.
So they're the ones that are going to make that decision. I've never seen a program necessarily shrink. I've always seen them grow. And I just want to make sure that this is, well, the 5 cents isn't enough. We need more, because of da-da-da-da. And I just want to make sure that there's somebody's watching basically the till to make sure that it's being used for what people said that it's designated for.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So every year, our job would be to submit a proposal to the commissioners, and they would continue to watch over it as the governing body, just as they are now, but obviously as a separate district. We did have a lot of discussions in the beginning, and John can attest to that, and as well as the volunteer group, about just what amount should be put in there. And in the end, they felt most comfortable putting it at 5%, at 5 cents as a maximum amount, with the full expectation that the commissioners would continue to contribute, and there would be a possibility of a lower levy amount.
Well, keying on Councilor Tessler's theme that she's had so much this year, I intend to be planting 2 hop plants out at the Sunny Slope neighborhood garden. So the community can see how a hop plant, which brings a lot of revenue to this community, what it actually looks like.
That's right.
And I'll make beer with it later, too.
We have Councilor Rogers and then Councilor Nanke.
I'd just like to let you know for sure that I was in 4-H when I was a kid, and I learned how to make apple crisp because I took a cooking, and I was in forestry in 4-H. So I know how important it is and what it can do. Here's my concern: is that this is today, and it's 5% of a tax. And how many times have we tried to do this with a library? How many times have we tried to do it with a swimming group of having special districts to fund special programs? And it really boils down to what is the priority of the county? What are their priorities? And they must have said this is not a big priority. It's not as big as something else. And you guys just went through the budget process. How many things have we cut out? What happened to our swimming pools in this city? And there's multiple youth activities that we're not providing the services for that we used to. And so that's what I'm trying to compare this to have that understanding. And so I certainly realize that our resolution is one thing for the voters, but I don't think I can support it because I think we're opening up Pandora's box for the next group to come in and ask for their special district. Pretty soon, that's all we have. And maybe that's where we're going. I don't know, but I'm not going to support that for those reasons.
And Councilor Nanke.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And in listening to Councilor Tessler and doing backwards math, it's been about 20 years since I was first involved with the Extension Office and the Master Recycler Program as well. That being said, this isn't necessarily outside. We're all an interactive organism between the county and the city in regards to the economy. I think this will provide valuable benefits to maintain those that actually draw needs out of the city of Salem and thus create jobs inside of our boundaries and help pay our property taxes in general and may actually help us turn around slightly faster than the crawling that we're doing. But with that being said, it will go before the voters, so I know that that's always a tough road, and we'll have to see how that shakes out. Any idea of voter sentiment yet, or have you gotten out to that?
We've been working with Chuck Adams with New Media Northwest, and he conducted some research which included a poll in there with the questions. He came up with 50%, I believe, if that's right, John, 50% of the voters would support this as is. And I want to say roughly 30% or so against, and then the undecided. I believe Chuck may have provided more information to Linda or to Mayor Peterson. I'm just not sure on details there from memory. But anyway, so it was I guess the point being is that he's done some research and there's a positive response, and that was critical for the commissioners and in signing their resolution and supporting this and moving forward.
Excellent, thanks.
Looking to see if there was a letter in this file, but I don't see one from Chuck Adams, so. All right, let's see, Councilor Dickey.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I will be supporting this resolution. I know when I first heard about it, one of my main concerns was that compression and how will that affect not only the city, but all the other jurisdictions that receive property tax dollars. And one of the things that I was kind of struck by when going through all of the information was how much economic development opportunity there is with the extension. I've known about 4-H for a while and some of the gardening programs and some of those things that we all kind of associate with that, but really getting an understanding of what potential there is in helping with economic development, both for the city of Salem and that would help the other jurisdictions around us. So I'm hopeful that there will be a lot of benefit that way, and I know that confident that the city will receive some direct benefit from that as well. So I hope that this goes well for you, and I hope the voters see the same thing.
All right, thank you. Are there other questions or comments from councilors? Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us at the podium. Appreciated the information that you were able to bring for us tonight. All right, we have the motion on the floor, and that is to support the resolution to support the proposal of the ballot initiative to form the Agricultural Education Extension Service District. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it, and motion carries with Councilor Rogers voting no. Thank you very much. We have no unfinished business before us this evening. There are several information reports that are in your packet, A, B, and C. Are there any questions or comments regarding those information reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to ordinances. We have a first reading, and our recorder will introduce it.
Ordinance Bill Number 514, vacating a portion of public right-of-way located west of Front Street and north of Pringle Creek.
Thank you. Councilor Nanke, do you have a motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move council advance ordinance bill number 5-14, vacating a portion of public right-of-way located west of Front Street and north of Pringle Creek to second reading.
Thank you. Is there a second? It's been moved by Councilor Nanke and seconded by Councilor Tessler to move forward with vacating a portion of public right-of-way located west of Front Street, north of Pringle Creek, south and east of Riverfront Park. Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And our second ordinance item, B.
Ordinance Bill Number 614, relating to amending the Salem Transportation System Plan, a component of the Salem Area Comprehensive Plan, and amending SRC 64.005.
Councilor Nanke, do you have a motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that City Council advance ordinance bill number 6-14, amending the Salem Transportation System Plan to second reading.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilor Nanke and seconded by Councilor Dickey to move ordinance bill number 614 forward for a second reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We have no second readings. Do we have anyone here who would like to comment during this section of the comment? No, no one is signed up. All right. Is there anyone in the audience that did want to comment? All right. We have no new business, no mayor's items or councilor's items, and we are adjourned.
I called 8:15.
Right.